there, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about the Corpse Bride and Frankenweenie. So both these films by Tim Burton are both stop motion films made at the same time as he was making live action films. An interesting thing here, right, is both times these films have come out that were developed alongside the live action films, both of them get better reviews than the live action films he was making them at the same time. Which suggests maybe his passion was going into these films stronger than his live action films. So Corpse Bride was made at a similar time to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and even though it came out 2 years later, it was developed at the same time as it was making Alice in Wonderland for Disney. So, and then he went into Dark Shadows after it. But I think a lot of what was done before he did Dark Shadows. So it was these were like his passion projects that came out and kind of overshadowed the films that made them more money. Both cases, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Alice in Wonderland, both made a lot more money, but were less well received in these two films. So, and to be honest, watching them, I feel like these two films are more passion projects than those two films. Because those two films are the two that are the Tim Burton films that even Tim Burton fans look at and go, it doesn't feel like he's put all his passion to these films. It doesn't really... These feel alienated. And yeah, I mean, outside of Planet of the Apes, of course. But, I'm not going to say, I do quite like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. A lot more than some people do. Or most people, to be honest. So, I'll start with Corpse Bride. The Corpse Bride is like 70 minutes long. And it's based on an old kind of European story that Tim Burton more or less admitted he just took the title from and made up his own story too. And this one does feel like an extension of like what he was doing with Nightmare Before Christmas. Even though he didn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas, he just wrote the story for it and produced it. This one feels an extension of like he's gone out, because I mean Henry Selick, who directed that film, went out and did James and Giant Peach, but Burton also produced and did his own things like Coraline. He's had like an up and down career because I think he's fairly stubborn, and Burton did his own thing. Burton was easier for the finances because he's Tim Burton and he's got a track record that you can always put on the posters, so it's much easier to sell his film. So even like something like Corpse Bride, which should be a difficult sell, had Tim Burton on the posters. You had Johnny Depp, who was just off the Pirates of the Caribbean 1 basically, and as the voice artist, and you had Helen Bonham Carter, Emily Watson, Christopher Lee, Michael Goff, things like that. A lot of the Tim Burton people, Albert Finney. She's a lot of voice actors who everyone knew. You had Richard E. Grant. So it was easy to sell it for a stop motion film. But the good thing about Burton is he's actually good with these actors, so that even though he's cast someone who's well known, he's not just cast them for their name, he's cast them to actually use them properly in the story and create an atmosphere. So Johnny Depp's playing kind of like Ed Wood, but a more innocent Ed Wood, of someone who's in his own head and he's enthusiastic, but he's also scared of his parents. They're trying to arrange a marriage to him, and he's like horrified at an arranged marriage because this other family have run out of money, and he's like, his family are nouveau rich, but they have money and they want the prestige of this other family's name, and another family wants the money from them, so they're trying to marry off the daughter to the son. And the thing is, they both get the son and daughter get along instantly. It's like, oh, it's arranged marriage, but oh, we actually like each other. This is strangely, this works out pretty well. But unfortunately, the young man Depp plays is socially clumsy to an extreme, and probably it's overdone a little bit in this film, but they're having so much fun, it's quite enjoyable. Again, I saw both these. I saw this one with projector, and I saw Frankenweenie in 3D on VR thing. So they're both like big screen experiences. So you get to see all the animation details and delight in all the detail they can put into this simple format for just for the stop motion. So when he's practicing, because he makes a total mess of the actual practice, he goes to practice in the forest just beside the town, and he actually has passion for who he's trying to marry. He just cannot get the connection right, but he does it when he's by himself. Unfortunately, the Corpse Bride is listened to him, and she accepts his invitation to marry her instead. So he's married to the Corpse Bride, who's played by Helena Bonham Carter, and she's like, she takes him to the underworld, and he's trying to escape from her the whole time to get back to his love. And she wants revenge on the person who did her in and turned into the Corpse Bride and killed her. So there's all these complications to the story. But besides a simple story, it is basically like the way that European stories used to be, or horror stories, where someone's been wronged, there's a supernatural element, there's underworld, and the person who's wronged will get revenge. Very basic stuff. This is a 70-minute film. The plot's not complicated. What makes up the runtime is learning more about the characters, both the Depp character, the Corpse Bride character, and then on the other side of the world, in the land of the living, you've got the ditched fiancé who's suddenly getting seduced by Richard E. Grant, who's a swindler, and who it's fairly obvious was the person who ditched the Corpse Bride earlier. I mean, they don't even try to hide that. You know instantly he's the bad guy and he did everyone in. So you're just waiting for him to get his comeuppance. And it's basically that story, and it's how it unfolds. You get much more about the underworld, where you get like the Corpse Bride, her pet. You've got Michael Gough as the keeper of all the secrets of the underworld, and he's having a lot of fun because Tim Burton cast him in Batman as Alfred, knowing he'd been in Dracula and a lot of horror movies in the 60s and 70s, and he kept on using them because he loved using them. He was in Sleepy Hollow. I think he did a small part in Frankenweenie, even though he basically retired, like a line or something. So Burton always liked using them. So this is the delight. I mean, Corpse Bride is a delight. I mean, the thing about it is it's a very slight story. So if you're wanting a story told really fast, you're going to be frustrated because this is basically a short story stretched to 70 minutes. So if you're wanting something really fast, you're not going to get it. You're going to get a lot of character detail. You're going to get a lot of character actors doing their bit, the voices. You're going to get lots of wonderful animation. But you're not going to get fast-paced stuff till the end when you have to conclude it all. Until then, it's all about atmosphere, and that's where this film really works, and it's beautiful. And it's a shame that Nightmare Before Christmas is so famous, it overshadows this and Frankenweenie, because they're wonderful. I mean, I think Nightmare Before Christmas is the iconic one, but if you're looking for more, Corpse Bride is wonderful. Corpse Bride really works. And it has just been remastered in 4K, and the remaster is wonderful. It just looks gorgeous. So now I'm going to go on to Frankenweenie, which I saw in 3D. I rewatched in 3D on the VR thing. My VR thing has 3D, so you can watch it. And the good thing is you don't need the glasses. You just watch it in 3D, and the things come out to you, and you get the distance and everything else for like stop motion, just 3D. It is just beautiful to watch. And this is also a very simple tale. It was based on a story Tim Burton directed for Disney, like when he was an artist working Disney, because he was an animator who they couldn't work out what to do with because he was so visually interesting but not suited to Disney style. So they ended up making Vincent and Frankenweenie before he got offered to Warner's to go make Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So this was a film he made live action, but I think he always wanted to do it in stop motion because he thought it could be expanded and done better. It's about a boy whose dog is killed, and the boy brings him back to life as a Frankenstein dog, which is something you can do in live action a little bit, but you can't go full on to it. So this film, I'd seen it when it came out, like on disc when it just after it came out. I missed it on the cinema, but I'd never watched the 3D version. And this film lives in 3D. This film deserves to be in 3D. It's designed with 3D in mind, and a lot of just the way the camera moves in 3D, you get a sense of the movement of the camera, and also the way the kind of world expands just by moving the camera in 3D. It just is wonderful in 3D. It's one of those ones that are like, sort of like Tron Legacy. It just works in 3D. It just there's something about it in 3D. It just makes it work. But also the story's good in stop motion. The idea is that this kid who's obsessed by his dog, he loves his dog. He's a happy-go-lucky kid, but he's also called Victor Frankenstein. I'm not sure it's Victor Frankenstein. It's something Frankenstein. And his parents are Frankensteins, made by Martin Short and Catherine O'Hara, who they also do voices for other characters. And you've got lots of other voices, and Christopher Lee turns up a little bit at the end. No, Christopher Lee turns up as Dracula, watching Dracula at some point, and his voice is from the original Dracula. I thought Michael Gough turns up as a voice here. I'm not sure, but I'm sure he did. But there's so many voice people that Tim Burton's worked with in the past. Tim Burton likes bringing actors back. After he's worked with them, he enjoys working with them. They do come back in other parts. Sometimes small parts. Like when he did Dumbo, Michael Keaton came back as a villain, so Neil Narkin came back as a little character, and they hadn't worked with Burton for years. He's come back and did these basic small parts in this big film. So actors tend to like working with Burton, and they always come back to him. Danny DeVito's put in tons of stuff with Burton. So Burton likes actors and always do parts with them. In this film, you get a sense of everyone's enjoying themselves. Martin Landau is the teacher who teaches the kids science, and he's played. They make him look like Boris Karloff, Vincent Price, but Landau does a kind of Lugosi voice, so it's not quite not quite Price, it's not quite Lugosi, but also he does have a Karloff feel to him as well. It's like a amalgamation of all these like different, horror stars from the past. Because even though I've seen Vincent Price, it's also some of the design felt Karloffian as well. It's just weird. And he's fun because he tells the townspeople they're idiots because they try to teach the people science. I want their brains. But he means he wants to expand their brains, not he doesn't want to eat their brains. So basically the plot is Victor, I think Victor's the name of the kid, brings back his dog, Sparky. The dog's quite happy, but he just needs electric jolts to keep going. Other kids find out the secret as well from the class, and they're all kind of creepy in their own different ways. And they want to bring their pets back. So it's sort of a funny version of Pet Sematary in some ways. They all go to the cemetery and bring their pets back, and some pets come back. All pets come back as dangerous, apart from Sparky, because Sparky was brought back with love. But one of them is this like turtle, but he's expanded, so he becomes Gamera. If you like Gamera films, this is a big treat. The base of Gamera as a big villain at the end, destroying this town. Like Burton didn't do Godzilla, he did Gamera. There's these other weird creatures that come out and cause havoc as well. It's all shot in black and white, stop motion, so it just looks gorgeous in the black and white. And there's lots of funny gags. This one's much more fast paced than Corpse Bride. It's sillier. Like the Burton, because he was doing Challenge Shot Factory at the same time as Corpse Bride, he had a co-director. And this one, he's the director. He's the sole director of Frankenweenie. So I think it was done just after Alice in Wonderland, but it was done. I think it was developed and maybe they did the voices at the same time, but then they did stop motion slightly after. But It's like Burton was in charge of this one, and it's just energetic. You tell he's having a lot of fun with this. He's really enjoying himself. The same way when Wes Anderson does stop motion, you can tell he's having a blast with all the framing and all the different things you can do with stop motion. And this one's just so much fun because it's silly at times, it's serious at times. Burton has fun with all the cliches of the windmill at the end of Frankenstein. That makes a return in this one. Just the silliness of Frankenstein in a school setting. Just the same, it's very much an offshoot of what you did with Edward Scissorhands, where you had this creature going to suburbs. This time it's dead animals coming back to life in the suburbs. It's like he's got certain things that has meaning to him, and he managed to make him work because he was born in the suburbs and loved monsters. So he can always make that work because there's an emotional attachment to it. So both these films are delightful, really. I mean, some people might like me will like them more because we love that kind of movie. Other people might feel a bit colder towards them because it's not their kind of story. And they are, story-wise, they're fairly slight, but it's all about the atmosphere and it's all about the invention throughout the films. But I would happily recommend them to everyone. Just go watch them. They are fun. If you can see them, if you can see Frankenweenie in 3D, see it, because it really works in 3D. And Corpse Bride is just beautiful. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's me for now. Right, bye.